Let's take you now live to Nice. Andrew Plant is standing by. And Andrew, are armed police still very much in evidence there?
They have been ever since we arrived here this morning, Philippa. We came through Nice airport probably 4 or 5 hours ago now, and there was a really heavy police presence. It was very obvious as soon as you came out of arrivals. Coming here to this street, you couldn't get here the normal way. A lot of it's been blocked off, as you can probably see, and even being here, actually, your movements are restricted. They're checking press cards pretty thoroughly, for example. The public are just over to my left here, penned in behind some metal barriers. The police keeping a very close eye on things, and everywhere you turn there is, as you say, an armed officer. I think that's pretty understandable, isn't it? There is a real sense of unease here. A lot of people who have come down, I think, to lay flowers. There is a pile of those that has been growing every few minutes, but also a lot of people just coming to try to make sense of what happened here on their street, in their town, in the place where they should have been safely watching the fireworks last night, and where such a terrible event occurred. When we arrived here a few hours ago, you could still see actually the truck that you've probably all seen pictures of by now. It's been cordoned off. You'll see those white fences put up there. That is where most of what happened occurred yesterday. That is where we also saw the truck where it had come to a stop with the bullet holes in the windscreen. It's unclear whether that's been taken away now because police, for obvious reasons, have put those white screens across. I can tell you too that the world's media has been quick to react. The scenes that you're watching now are being broadcast across the world on every 24-hour news channel. People from as far as China, we've seen here from South America too. So a huge amount of interest in what's happened here, things changing every few minutes. We've heard that police here in Nice have raided a house of a suspect. We know that in the front of that truck they found some personal items, a wallet, some bank cards. They've been to the house of the person that they believe those belong to. So new lines coming out all the time here in Nice, and a lot of people coming to pay their respects and to try to make sense of what happened here.
Now, Andrew, just a sense of the scale of this, because you were pointing out the area that was cordoned off behind you, which of course is where the truck eventually came to a halt. But it's the fact that this driver took this truck over such a long distance and caused such havoc over that distance that people are just struggling to come to terms with, isn't it?
That's right, Julian. Yeah, you may have seen that police car going past there. That's a regular occurrence too. There is obviously things happening here this morning. Lots of police activity. We are then probably finding out, if we do find out, what that's all about, maybe half an hour to an hour later. But yes, as you say, an awful lot of talk here this morning about the unusual nature of yesterday's attack. Obviously, France, at the beginning of last year in March and then in November, was the subject of 2 terrible terrorist attacks. This is not the same method of operation, if you like. This is really very different. It's much more brutal, it's much more simple, but as you have seen from the ever-increasing death toll, 84 it stands at now, but lots of people very severely injured. It is no less brutal, no less effective in the eyes of the killer. So a lot of talk about whether or not this is linked to a terrorist group. It has been called a terrorist attack, but that piece of information, that link, as far as we know at the moment, is still missing. We're still waiting for the police to tell people exactly what they've found out about the man who was behind the wheel of that truck here last night.
Andrew, thank you very much for that. Andrew Plant there, live in Nice.